I get asked all the time about how I set up my Thrive Theme Builder page template. That's specifically the single page template, not necessarily the home page or any of the other page templates on my site. The approach that I take has two benefits. The first one is simplicity. It's very easy to make the template the way that I make it. And the second benefit is that it gives you the most flexibility and options when creating just about any type of page that you want to create. My philosophy for using Thrive Theme Builder and how I teach it in my courses and how I show it in my YouTube videos is to remember that Thrive Theme Builder is a theme. Its first purpose is for structure and reusability and giving you a framework upon which to build. It's the canvas for you to paint on. In other words, it's the canvas for Thrive Architect to go in at the page level and make customizations. So follow along as I create a page template example for you to show you how I do it. And hopefully this will help alleviate some of the confusion and maybe frustration and streamline your workflow when you're setting up your website built with Thrive Suite. So let's go into Thrive Theme Builder. I've got it open right here. And whether you're setting up a brand new site or you have an existing one, it doesn't matter. I'm actually just on my main website right now. So I'm going to go to Manage Templates because they already exist. And here are all of my templates. Rather than just show you what I've done, I'm going to walk you through how you can do it yourself. So there's my default page template, and this is exactly how I got it looking the way that I did. I go up to the top right, click Add New. We're going to have a page template. I'll call mine Demo Page Template. And we're going to choose Single. We're going to change Post to Page, and we're going to click Start from Scratch. It will usually toss the page template that you made right at the bottom, so you can just click Edit. And now we have this really quite cluttered and quite ugly, almost blog post looking template. And that's just the default. Thrive kind of just throws it all up onto the screen for you. So we're just going to delete most of this. So the cleanup process is fairly simple. I'm going to just start deleting components. You can see I've cleared out my top section. And at any time, if you get lost, you can always click in some empty white space and you can see the different components that make up a template in Thrive Theme Builder. You have the header, the top, content area, the sidebar, the bottom, and the footer. Our top section, you can see with this gray text right here, is currently empty. So we're going to leave that empty. And actually, we'll just go ahead and turn that off. That's right. I don't even use a top section on my pages. And I'll show you why. We're also going to delete our post title. We're going to delete the featured image. And it starts to get really, really clunky. So we can just save ourselves some time and just go to this top left section here, turn off the sidebar entirely. We won't even bother emptying it. And we want to just find pieces like columns. We want to delete those. And you'll see that I've got my mouse over this area that is outlined in blue. It has this little post content flag in the upper left. That's what has to stay. You can see we don't even have the option to delete it in the upper right hand corner. And we have our content area. That's also part of our template. Can't get rid of that, but we can get rid of other pieces like the About the Author section, Thrive comments. We don't want that on there. There's a divider here. We want to get rid of that. And you can see what you're actually looking at in the background here. It's just some random page it picked on my website. It's actually the most recent page I made. I started a newsletter, which you can sign up for. It's a nice little segue. And it's showing my confirmation for preference updates if someone were to unsubscribe. So that's going to show no matter what. That's showing a page on my website, and this is a page template. You can change what content is currently being shown in the content area by going to the upper right and then finding another page on your website. However, I want to take this opportunity to remind you that in Thrive Theme Builder, we don't actually put content, or actually should not put content directly into a template that's not dynamic. So common mistake that I see all the time when I'm helping clients kind of untangle their Thrive Theme Builder mess is that they'll come in here and they'll think, oh, I'm editing a template. Wait a minute, that's my preferences updated page. Ooh, I should change some of that content. And suddenly their templates have become pages that they should be editing in Thrive Architect. So take a step back and remember this is our structure and our framework. All we're doing is creating a canvas so that things like the preferences updated page have a place and a canvas to live on. So we're almost fully cleaned up. We just need to delete our bottom section to get rid of that. That's right, I don't use a bottom section either. And now we've got pretty much everything cleaned up in terms of what we need to get rid of, but we need to adjust a couple of things. The first thing, make sure that you click in an empty white space and in the breadcrumbs, go to page or demo page template settings. Click on that. That gets you kind of back to the root of the template. and the layout width. This is where you can adjust how wide the template will be. You can kind of see I already have content that looks like it's breaking out of the post content container, and that's because, spoiler, my actual default page template is wider, and so that content is stretched out wider in a background section. I like to set my layout width to no less than 1200 pixels, and as you can see now, as soon as I set that to 1200, there it is. It looks like the content that's on that other page that we're just seeing within our template is lined up nicely, and you can see also that my header, by default, I didn't change anything. My header and my footer are set up to inherit the template width. In fact, if I click on my header right here and I go down on the bottom left, I can see that it says inherit content size from layout. And yep, you guessed it. That is what we just changed here with layout width. Set it to 1200. I find that's a really good width. If you like a wider website look, you can go with something like 1400. I tend not to go above 1400 in most of my designs. Now, we don't have to edit our header or our footer. However, we can, if we want to at this time, take the opportunity to click on our header, click edit, make some changes, just knowing that this is going to be your header across your entire website as your primary header on every page. Same thing with the footer, same footer on every page. So what I like to do, and this is actually the process I go through, whenever I want to edit my header or my footer, I will simply go into my default page template, knowing that every page on my website uses this template. I'll click into it, I'll click edit, and I'll make changes there because I know it's going to be site-wide, and I know I don't have to make sure I'm finding the right header. It's just there automatically. Now, we're not done yet. There is one last step that I always go through when I make a page template, and that's what I call the cleanup phase. The cleanup phase begins by hovering your mouse in the middle of the screen and finding post content. There it is. I'm just going to click. You can see my breadcrumbs changed. We were just on the demo page settings. Here, I'll do that again for you. I'm going to click on demo page settings, and then I'm going to click in the middle of my content, and you can see we've added a few pieces here to our breadcrumbs. We're currently in post content. This is the important part of the cleanup phase. We're going to go to the left-hand side and go to Layout and Position. Notice that by default, Thrive Theme Builder comes with some margin in our post content. I want you to go ahead and put those to 0. Then in the breadcrumbs, go to Content Area, Layout and Position, and check for any margin or padding there. Set it all to 0. Now we're going to do that again. We're going to go one left to Content Wrapper, make sure that's at 0, and repeat the same process for layout container and make sure that is also at 0. What we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce the superfluous or unnecessary padding and margin. Sometimes templates will have like 30 pixels of padding, 20 pixels of margin. We want to get rid of all of those so that our content area sits flush right up against our header, and when expanded to the full width of the scroll will sit flush right up against our footer, because we're going to, remember, use this as a canvas, and we can paint in the margins and the padding at the page level for however we want our page to look. So this page template now is done, right? That's as simple as it gets. I'm going to click Save Work, and our page template is done. Now, let's take a look at what a fresh page looks like and how I would recommend using this page template as a fresh page. Let's go back into the back end of WordPress, go to Pages, and Add New. You can give your page a title. This is useful pretty much just for the back end because remember, we deleted that dynamic title pushing through to the front end because maybe we want to call the page something on the back end and have it be different from what we show on the front end. So I'm just going to call this something like, I don't know, demo service page. I'll save that as a draft, and then I won't touch anything else because we're going to leave it at the default. If I go over here on the right-hand side where you see theme builder templates, I'm going to leave that as the default template. Now let's take one step back for a second. If you added a brand new template like I did, you will need to go back to Thrive Theme Builder and make sure that you set that as your default page template. So in Thrive Theme Builder, we'll go to templates. We'll make sure that the page template that we just made is our default one by going to core templates, because by default, you just see your core templates. We'll go to core templates here, drop that down, and you'll see custom post templates, find page, click on that, scroll all the way to the bottom, and there's that template that we made. You click the 3 dots and set as default. I'm not going to do that because my default page template's identical. I did the exact same thing, and that's exactly what I use. So again, we just want to make sure that our theme builder template is straight default. And then we're going to save draft again for good measure and then launch it with Thrive Architect. Now, if you've been a viewer on this channel, you know what to do here. You click normal page. You almost never choose any of these other three options. That's a surefire way to set yourself up for failure. We're just going to use our theme template because we just made a theme template. We're using Thrive Theme Builder. That's what we want. Click on normal page, and there we go. Look at that. Our content area, our post content sits flush against our header, and we have this perfect canvas to start building in. Now, I'm not going to leave you hanging there because we deleted a lot of stuff, and now I want to show you how to build a page so that you can understand how to start painting. We're going to run with that analogy, even if it is kind of weird. We're going to insert our elements and build a page. I always like to get started with a background section. Click it, just drops it on the page. I love to stretch my background sections to full width. I don't know what it is. I just like doing it because then they stretch to the full width of the container, but the content area remains the same. It remains confined in the background section to that 1200 pixels that we set in our template. Now I can do some cool stuff. I can set a background style and I can set a color to my background section like that. And then let's say I wanted to add a title. I can take my text element, drop it in, change it from paragraph to heading, and then click on my background section using the outside in principle. We always try to make changes to things like fonts and typography in the outermost container, not on the individual pieces of text. So by clicking on our background section in the breadcrumbs, we'll go to typography, we'll change it to white. And now any text we drop in here, if I were to drop in more text, will automatically be white. That's the outside in principle. So now with our text here, let's say that this was our service page. Maybe we'll just say it's like a book a consultation page. And then we can use this little subline to put a subline here, right? You can fill this in with a paragraph if you wanted to. And then you can go into your background section and say, all right, well, let's set a minimum height here. Maybe make this a little taller, maybe something like 250, and center my text. And we're already starting to put together a hero section, right? Or if I wanted to, I could delete that. I could open up my element tray and I can add a default block to the page. And I can say, I'm not a great designer. I just want to use some pre-built blocks. I can come in here and I can choose something like a theme block and look for a hero section that I like, click on it, give it a second to load, and then click into it. When you use the block builder, the background sections are typically called blocks. We'll just stretch that to full width too, so that it looks beautiful. And you can see because this section here is set to match screen height, it's one of those big full screen hero sections. If I scroll down, it sits flush against the footer, exactly like I wanted it to. Now let's delete that and I'll show you, let's say that you imported a design pack, right? Like I sell design packs, I give design packs in my courses. A really easy way to insert a design pack directly into our default page is with the template and symbol. I'll click on that. And now we're seeing like my messy library that I need to clean up one of these days. But now we're going to see, okay, let's say that I imported a design pack and I want to insert it directly into my site. Let's just insert an entire page. Here we go. I'll insert my old Convology Pro sales page. And with one click, I have automatically imported an entire sales page into my standard page template right here. And it looks like it's a normal page on my website because it is a normal page on my website. Now, you might be asking, well, Doug, what if I want to use a page that doesn't have a header? What if I'm making a checkout page on my website? Or what if I'm making a sales page? I don't want that header to confuse or to distract from conversion rates, etc. Well, like we went over in a previous video of mine here on the channel, all you have to do is go up to the top with this page gear and go to visibility settings. And right here, we have total control of our different template components, whether we want to inherit from the default, which is what it's doing right now, or if we want to turn stuff off. So for example, you just want to turn off the header instead of inheriting, which is showing, we want to hide it. And now you've got yourself a landing page, putting that in quotes because it means a million things to different people. But now you have a landing page where you don't have a distracting header. You can drop anything on here. You can build a sales page using any of the methods that I just showed you. And that's it. That is the powerful page template. That is using Thrive Theme Builder. I'm going to put this in quotes the right way. The way that I recommend is right for 99% of everybody out there. This is exactly how I use Thrive Theme Builder, and it's the cleanest, most efficient way. It's the simplest way, and it's the option that gives you the most flexibility to turn any page on your website into anything you want, and it doesn't restrict you or hinder you in any way. If you have additional questions about Thrive Theme Builder, I do have an awesome free workshop that I'll link in the video description where it walks you through the entire initial setup process of Thrive Theme Builder, exactly how I would do it. It's completely free. You can sign up and you'll get access to that portion of my course, which is pretty much, I think, the first lesson of my Thrive Theme Builder course. Super useful. I think you'll find additional resources there very helpful. And as always, you are welcome to post questions down below, and I will do my best to get to them. Starting to get a lot of comments in YouTube, so it's harder to keep up with all of it, which is why the best way to get additional help from me is inside of the Convology community, and I'll put a link for that as well down below in the video description. But that'll do it for me. I'll see you in the next video.